Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome His Excellency Captain Idris Wada, Governor of Kogi State, and the Honorable Minister of Information and Supervising Minister of the Ministry of Defense. You're welcome, sir. Excellency Captain Idris Wada, Governor Kogi State, Our Excellency, wife of the Governor of Kogi State, Hajia Alima Ladi Wada, the Honorable Minister of Information and the Supervising Minister of the Ministry of Defense, Mr. Labaran Maku, and his distinguished members of the good governance team that are here, Our Excellency, wife of the Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Mrs. Tokumbo Awoni, the Grand Cadi of Kogi State, National Good Governance Tour Team to Kogi State, 6th to 9th November 2013. I wish to humbly welcome the Honorable Minister of Information, Mr. Labaran Maku, and the esteemed members of the National Good Governance Team to Kogi State. The state has been eagerly waiting to take its finale in Kogi State for this visit. As we have hosted you in the last 4 days, you would have come face to face with His Excellency Captain Idris Wada's performance in practical terms in the past 22 months of his administration in all sectors, despite the lean finances available to the government. The transformation agenda of this administration operates through an integrated development program, which for ease of focus has been categorized into 4 development areas. They include education, health, agriculture, and social infrastructures. The Central Planning Committee for this visit, therefore, selected landmark projects in these and other sectors for your assessment during your 4-day inspection visit. At the end of your visit, you must have been convinced that a lot which the government has done in these areas is a justification of the overwhelming mandates freely given to Governor Idris Wada by the people of Kogi State. You will agree with me that your stay in our state, proudly referred to as the Confluence State, and the confluence of resources has been a rewarding experience. Once again, I welcome you to Kogi State, the melting pot of all cultures, and a mini Nigeria where peace and brotherliness reigns supreme. Thank you.
And his wife, Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister for Information and the Supervising Minister for the Federal Ministry of Defense, Mr. Labaran Maku. Yes, let me stand on all existing protocol after appreciating and commending my members, my colleagues the ever-vibrant journalist in Nigeria. Well, we came to the Kogi State 3-4 days ago. I'm representing the president of the NUJ, and we've been to so many places, cities, villages, and right into the jungles of Kogi State. In all, we visited or inspected 37 project sites, and on the government side, on the federal government side, we inspected the Lokoja Abuja dualization. We inspected the Federal High Court in Lokoja, Federal University of Technology, the 25,000 metric ton silos, on and on like that. And we did the same thing in respect of state projects. My position. I did not, or I was not part of the good governance stores right from the beginning. This is my first time of starting and ending with this town hall meeting and this. But sincerely, and talking authoritatively for myself and my union, I am very happy that I am part of the good governance store now, because it has changed so many of my beliefs that I used to have before I joined the good governance store. For example, in Lokoja here, I saw a very beautiful Federal High Court put in place by the federal government. And my position before was that the judiciary wasn't living well enough in terms of office accommodation and other areas where their job should be good enough to make them dispense justice effectively. But when I saw that, and I also, in my state, Ondo State, I am aware that there is also a Federal High Court and many others in that place. So I'm very happy that the judiciary is being focused upon. And when a judge sits in a good environment, I want to believe that few people will go to prison. Also, we have this Federal University of Technology. The Federal University of Technology, we started about 2 years ago. I was amazed, sincerely, about the level of development that I found there. And the 25,000 metric ton silos that is focusing attention of saving of food for Nigerians, especially in this place. And the 25,000 silos is not the only one in the Kogi State. We have, I know that there's another 10,000 and 5,000 silos. Altogether, we have 40,000 metric tons of silos in Kogi State alone. And we have that in so many other states. Well, I want to talk on my own opinion on the Lokoja Abuja dualization road. I was told from on good authority that the road was awarded in 2002, and it has passed through 3 federal administrations since 2002 to now. I am not happy as a person that a very good road of that kind took so long a time to be completed. It is yet to be completed still. But I was told, and I heard from the minister and some of my colleagues on the tour, that this present government is focusing more attention in this area. And I know that from what we were told, between now and April 2014, the road will be completed finally. And I believe that will be good for Nigerians because it is a very important road. I also observed that the TED fund, for the many tertiary institutions we selected and visited and inspected, I saw the handwriting of TEF funding, almost 90% of such in all the tertiary institutions, including state institutions, the Polytechnic, and so many. So I thank God that it's happening in that manner. For the state, I want to appreciate the governor for the cement company, the fertilizer company that is on, the new secretariat that he has built. I want to also appreciate him that he is continuing. You know, we get to some states, governors will abandon the projects of their predecessors. But here, we saw it on ground that the governor is ready and is working and is improving on the lives and the welfare of the people by completing those projects that he met on ground. Then, like the governor did advise yesterday, I also want to join him in advising that states should also bring these kind of programs to the state level, whereby state and local government will embark on this kind of tour and showcase their projects and programs to the people. Thank you very much.
Amiable Governor of Kogi State. I said my because I am from Kogi State here. Captain Idris Wada and his amiable spouse. Your Excellency, the wife of the Deputy Governor of Kogi State. Okay. The indefatigable and workaholic Minister of Federal Ministry of Information and Supervising Minister of Defense. I want to start by saying that His Excellency, since he came to Kogi State, he has restored peace in Kogi State. We are all aware of the importance of peace. Without peace, there won't be development. Without peace, there won't be stability. Without peace, there will be crisis. He has restored peace in Kogi State. My comrade has talked about continuity. I think I want to repeat myself in what I said in Kwara State. I said if there had been continuity, our power system will not be like this. If there is continuity, our road will not be as bad as this. If there is continuity, our infrastructure will not have been like this. But the governor of Kogi State, people are blaming him, but he stands on this continuity. And at the same time, we are all aware that even the federal government, they equally stand on continuity. I will tell you, in Abuja, Kubwa FCT Road was awarded by late Yaradua. But when Goodluck Ebele Jonathan came up, he continued with that project. And today, everybody that passed through that road, they are praising him. So continuity is very important, and we should allow our governor to finish the project he met on ground and start his own. How I wish the football match that was played in Arab Emirates, was played in our stadium here yesterday. Because if you go to that stadium, I don't think where they play that ball was better than this stadium we have in this place. I want to plead, Your Excellency, the magic wand that was used last year by His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, by mending all the roads in Nigeria within 2 months to the Xmas period. I want the same magic wand to be used in fixing Obajana Egbe Road, Okene Lokoja Road. These are very germane to us. It's a very important road.
if you are going to cover from this place, you have to go and pass through Okene instead of you to pass through Obajana. And we equally want to plead with the Dangote Cement Company, the owner of the company, to use his to repair that road, to assist in repairing that road too, because his vehicles are the one plying that road, and they are the one that is spoiling that road. Your Excellency, lastly, I want to say that I want to plead with you. There was one allowance. I'm coming to my own jurisdiction now. I want to plead to you, sir. There was one allowance that we fought for, and the indefatigable minister that is sitting with you assisted us to achieve this allowance at the national level, and it has passed to the state now, and we are told that this allowance is for both workers in broadcast media and culture, but we are told this place they are yet to enjoy it. So we want to plead to you, sir, that you approve this allowance to our workers in Radio Kogi and culture. Lastly, I want to thank you, Your Excellency, that this continuity, we want it to continue, but we equally want to see your own project. As
Captain Idris Ichala Wada, Executive Governor of Kogi State, and his amiable wife, the Honorable Minister of Information and Supervising Minister of Defense, Mr. Labaran Maku, other senior government functionaries, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mrs. Grace Golit, the representative of the National President, NCWS, Mrs. Mba. National Council for Women Society is the umbrella body of women organizations in Nigeria. The organization promotes economic social welfare of women and children in general. I am very sure the Honorable Minister has given details on transformation agenda of our dear President, and permit me to recognize the high level of priority the President has given matters concerning women. Examples are the 13 women ministers, 9 essays in his cabinet. We can attribute the achievement in respect of women involvement in governance to the support of our dear mommy, the mother of the nation, Her Excellency, the First Lady, Her Excellency, the impatient Jonathan. It is important to commend His Excellency on agricultural transformation agenda in the state with the support of the federal government. There are also the aspect of education and youth empowerment, evident in vocational training centers, the entrepreneurial cooperation and equipping of schools. However, the National President of NUC, while commending His Excellency Captain Idris Ichala Wada on the support for women, has urged you to include more women representatives in appointive positions so as to follow the footsteps of our President in molding a better future for our children and youth. More grease to your elbow, the Goodluck Jonathan administration, Captain Idris Ichala Wada and your team. Thank you.
To eat and drink and marry with you. The governor said to local government chairmen to sit up, because next year this state government will start good governance monitoring in Kogi State. That is an acceptance. And in fact, he used two words, that good governance team, good governance performance, good governance idea is good. And so that's an acceptance of the fact that what we have come to do here is a good thing. And I'm sure all of you are appreciating it. When we were coming, I told a friend we were coming to Kogi. He said to me, oh yes, we are going to my state. When you reach there, you may not see big hospitals or many hospitals, but you will see good health services through the policies of the governor. And last night, the chairman of PDP here was also confirming that, and I was glad my friend was not wrong. All through when we have been going around, something we have heard very constantly is that education is number one, number two, number three priority of Idris Wada. And education, truly, we saw on ground many things the government is doing. Social infrastructure. There is basic learning that I have taken from Idris Wada. The learning on, two people have mentioned it here. The concept of continuity in development. Continuity in development is not a shameful thing. It does not just want to be selfish. Otherwise, you could say, leave those ones, let me begin Idris Wada. In fact, completing those projects is Idris Wada itself. On agriculture, we went round and we have seen many things to confirm what my friend said. He said we are in cultivation stage. By next year, we will see estates of plantation, and thereafter, you will see bumper yields. And this is what you saw. Cassava on ground, a lot of it. Rice is beginning, soya beans is on ground. And while we were here, we're hearing that cotton will soon come. And so this done within 22 months of Idris, my assessment is that you have tried, and you are trying. We also have noticed a spirit of public-private partnership in this state. The cement company that we went to yesterday is an example. But I think that when you crystallize this by partnering with local government councils, after all, they have a lot of money. And all through that we have gone round, I didn't see any local government project. But I'm sure that if we had stayed longer, we would have seen some. But the idea that I'm thinking is that we should encourage joining them into development process so that we can extend development to the grassroots. Just like we have seen in all the places we've been, the hand of the federal government, and this is massive, the hand of the federal government in all development sectors in Kogi State. And this applies also to every other state that we have been. Thank you very, very much.
Existing protocol to the governor of Kogi State and the entire people of Kogi State, I want to say thank you for giving us the privilege of knowing and sharing your state in the last few days. Kogi State should take its rightful place in the centenary celebration as a valuable stakeholder, since the origin and the naming of Nigeria was from here. It is in its rightful position to declare a new dawn for Kogi and a new dawn for Nigeria. The capacity for dreaming, in my view, is that you have to be able to be a visionary leader. And what makes a good leader is the ability to imagine the impossible becoming possible. And where you meet a leader is very, very important. My first encounter with your amiable governor, Captain Idris Ichala Wada, was in August this year at the 19th National Economic Summit Group. It was on the governor's panel sharing and selling the agricultural vision and prowess of the state. I was in attendance promoting the agricultural viability of another good state dear to my heart. But Captain Wada sold Kogi well. And indeed, my interest in Kogi grew, and I started following its agricultural development. Now on the good governance tour, I was glad to see what he is doing to the oldest profession in the world, where prior to the discovery of oil, we produced 10% of world food, and today we produce a mere 1%. But we are at a good place. Governor Wada talked about bringing back the growing of cotton in Kogi State. The rice Fadama scheme and the rice project has started. He also talked about soya beans, which caught my ears. Kogi has embraced mechanized farming. That means that indeed the youths of Kogi can actually begin to participate in agriculture. What has stopped agriculture from growing so far has been the non-mechanized farming. But now, I think Kogi can lead in this direction. What is left for me to say is that Kogi needs to bring on board the youth and the women of Kogi State, because with all your comparative advantage, named having boundaries with other states, 9 other states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, you are open for trade. Your tourism, the potential is very massive. You're naturally endowed with rocks, the meeting of the River Niger and Benue, the historical relics of Lord Lugard and its missionary activities in Lokoja. I think every Nigerian can be a part of what is happening here in Kogi State. Lastly, your mountains are also full of solid minerals, and gold, iron ore, and even oil are here. Well, I hope that you would guide it jealously. Seeing the state of the Ajaokuta Steel Company yesterday broke my heart. I think if that could be fixed, all Kogians everywhere in the world would definitely be homebound, and you may not even be able to have them all in one go. So please do something about it, and I'm sure the civil society will join you in doing that. Sir, and the good people of Kogi State, all I can say is that build the political will to replenish Kogi State through and with the centenary celebration. Think in terms of geometric progression. Let your sons and daughters dream new dreams. Nothing that you have imagined to do would be impossible. Thank you.
So, on arrival, before now, I think I am a member of the Good Governance Hall who have traveled with them around Nigeria. And before now, I have a concept of to tell the president to get just between 5 and 10 billion to the management directly, and let us put them to test and see whether we can have iron rods for building and reproduce engine blocks for our equipment. I want to equally comment on the efforts of the governor on the cement company in Alu, but I'll sound a kind of warning passively. In recent time, I have traveled to the same China. This year, I've gone to China 4 times and Malaysia once. Now, we have to be careful because of the rate of influx of investors. I asked a question yesterday that what is the local content of the company about to be established? The essence of industrialization is for our people to be balanced and to increase our internal revenue. If they are coming, we should equally jealously guide the influx of manpower importing into Nigeria, so that if expats, the so-called expatriates, are coming, we have engineers in Nigeria. Let us now marry the two integral parts, the indices of the engineering, and get our people involved, because on the long run, they will quit and leave the company for us to operate. So, if we have 200 staff on the field, in the agreement or the local content law, it is expected that 80%, not less than 80% of the workforce must come from the local community. So let us carefully monitor that.
so that we will not come in future to generate crises for ourselves. Definitely the youth yet unborn are going to ask us questions in future. I want to appreciate the effort of the governor. Number one thing I discovered in the youth empowerment program is that it's more focused than what it used to be. They have diverted from the era of sharing money to able-bodied men. That is what we call them in politics, but they are equally interpreted as thugs. While you divert the attention from sharing of money to thugs and redirect this money to training of manpower that will be very useful to themselves, useful to their community, to the state and the nation at large, please put more effort, because you must first of all be saved to be a savior. Well, while going round, we ask questions. There are several boundary problems that we discover Kogi was having even before you're coming to power. This is the oil in Ibaji area. The oil in Ibaji area. Sir, the problem between Edo State, Okpela, and Okene should quietly set up a committee, I don't know if it's in existence, so that they will calm these things, couple it, and settle it before it degenerates, because every war starts with a quarrel. Ogori, and Ekpedu, Ibaji, and Anambra, these are the three major areas that are looking calm, but it's a very serious problem. The issue of ghost hookers. Over the years, they have been auditing and re-auditing, which we have had. We went to a college, a college of education technical, and the total number of students in that school is 232. Staff strength 472. We tend to believe that you are not aware of this development. Please, there should be a team to investigate. That staff strength cannot be more than the population of students. Your Excellency, having said this, I appreciate you as a person, and I thank you for your effort. God bless you. God bless Kogi State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, standing on the existing protocol as a Nigerian who understood what the protocol is all about. But let me quickly show this. These are trainers, 100. Without this city, without this town, I would not have designed this. Why? Because the name of Nigeria comes from here. This is where Lord Lugard was, looking into the sea, and then created what we are all celebrating, Nigeria. Nigeria, good people, great nation. I live in the United Kingdom. I was the former chairman of Nigerian diaspora organization called NIDO, and I'm the founding director of Ben Television, which is the first black TV station in Europe. Incidentally as well, my family likewise come from the States. At least 50% of my family. My mother is the daughter of Obarov Kaba in 1930s. So I'm a royal princehood, as I'm told, as a Nigerian. But going around, and I have the privilege of being on the tour, due to our able Minister of Information, Mr. Labram Michael, who has independently and single-mindedly, all the places that he has been, he is fair, neutral, bearing in mind that he's a minister of the federal government of Nigeria. But he said it the way it is and what they see. Now, going into the, following on the tour, really and truly, some of the speakers have already made their own observations. But likewise, I think there's another thing when we talk about port. There is importance, we need to consider port, especially because we have two, somebody mentioned, two beautiful rivers joining hands together without any fighting. And that's what we have here in Kogi State. The tourism industry here is very, very important, Your Excellency. Even within Nigeria, for Nigerians to come here where the name of this wonderful great nation was conceived. Accidentally, or any other way you wanted to call it, the name Nigeria was conceived here in Kogi State. This is the first place that probably you found the first school established in what is called Nigeria. Many other things come from Kogi State. Now, naturally as well, when you look at the natural resources in this place,
It's just too much. And that's the reason why I believe they situated the Ajaokuta steel here. Now, when you talk of industry, ladies and gentlemen, there's more than 600 steel companies in China alone. In Nigeria, the most populous black nation in the world. By 2050, the Nigerian population will be more than 350 million. In the next 100 years, ladies and gentlemen, the Nigerian population will be #1 in the world. You will overtake China and India as the most populous black, not just black anymore, but the most populous nation in the world. How will you think your capacity? We haven't started. We have not done 30% of what we think. So looking into the history, ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria celebrating her centenary year is a wonderful achievement as well. I think it's because of that the Eaglet brought home the World Cup. Your Excellency, some of the speakers mentioned the industry of steel, and I want to use that opportunity as well to say, indeed, with all our youth on the street, some of them who are capable, have the capacity and the talent, at least 20,000. I went into that place and I thought it looked like a sci-fi when you watch the movies. The place looked like that. But I'm told that more than 90% of that has been done, and all that is needed is just probably $500 million. That can be achieved because with that investment of $500 million or even $1 billion, this state will not just become the icon in Nigeria, but it become the icon in Africa. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, coming from the Nigerians in Diaspora Leadership Forum, where we look at the qualities of leaders and how we can build new leaders, Nigeria definitely is on the path of glory. When you talk about transformation, it can go either way. Transformation can be backward, transformation can go forward. And we're looking, at least as we are all gathered here, to the positive transformation of making Nigeria a great and wonderful nation. But it doesn't go and doesn't end there. All of us here have to contribute. All the people that are here, those watching in the diaspora, those watching around Nigeria, you can only make it better when you contribute to the development that is needed in your community and in your state. And that is what we expect of each and every one of us here. On a final note, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for the privilege and the opportunity to be here. My observation definitely is that with adequate good roads leading to here, especially from places like Abuja, Kogi State is a tourist destination that should be #1 in Nigeria. Why? Because as I said, Nigeria was conceived here in 1914 by Lord Lugard. Even just coming and going around the building where Lord Lugard stayed and conceived this wonderful name called Nigeria is enough to generate a lot of income for the state and for Nigeria. So I would like to see more of that being done so that everybody can have more and benefit more in job creation, the ports, and of course, you don't need to have an airport, but of course, there are all opportunities around. And surely enough, I support the call, likewise, that the industry that are using this road almost every day should support by giving their own corporate support, donation to the state and government to build and make those roads much more better than they are today. On a final note, I want to say Modupe is going to remember on your Vawa and Biba and not all in Kogi State. So Modupe had a Dupelo governor called Lusheta and government in Biba. Ejo, in Kotobaye, and just consider that he thought by sea as of one thing was that to become by sea that from Google in your. Now go to correlate Mutanamuna Kogi. Na gode ma Allah da ya kawo nan wurin ina hausa dan kadan ya kamata abin da gwamnati ke yi mu taimaka musu su yi shi da kyau wanda ba su yi da kyau mu hide musu ba su yi ba da kyau saboda haka Najeriya ta zama nation din da kowa ke so ko ba gaskiya ba. Na gode kwarai, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you. Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Your Excellency, my brother, the Executive Governor of Kogi State, Captain Idris Wada,
Your Excellency, the First Lady of Kogi State, Your Excellency, the wife of the Deputy Governor of Kogi State, members of Kogi State Executive Council, the Special Assistant to the President on Media Affairs, the Special Assistant to the President on Documentation, the Special Advisors to the Governor, the Secretary to the Government of Kogi State, the elders of Kogi State led by His Royal Highness the Atta Igala and other royal fathers, the chairman of PDP in Kogi State and chairman of other political parties who are attending this Citizens Forum, distinguished citizens of Kogi State, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, this is our third day here. We are here in continuation of the National Good Governance Tour. And like you heard from the MC, virtually the entire media industry in Nigeria is here, led by the Deputy President of NUJ, Deputy President of Ratao, and all the key stakeholders in the print, electronic media, as well as the new media, the social media. We are all here. Also here is the leadership of Nigerian women under the NCWS, as well as major stakeholders in civil society. They are all here. Our most senior colleague, the former president of NUJ, has already spoken to you, George Izobo. So, Your Excellency, we have come as a national team to monitor the progress being made in Kogi State by governments at all levels. We have already heard from some of the stakeholders their comments on what they have seen. But before I come there, let me seize this opportunity to thank His Excellency the Governor, the government and the people of Kogi State for welcoming us into the state. The reception was warm, and your officers, led by a very hard-working Commissioner for Information and other commissioners, have worked with us, taking the team to all the sites we planned to visit. We have worked hard. The planning committee here worked very hard, and let me commend them, because when you say a leader is succeeding, it is the people around him. If they don't do the work, Your Excellency, no matter what you do, you will realize your targets. We have seen that your team has worked hard in the last couple of days, and we are appreciative of their effort, without which this governance tour will never be a success. Having said this, Your Excellency, I want to open my own address by congratulating the President and the people of Nigeria for yesterday's historic victory of our Under-17 team. In defeating every single opponent they faced throughout that tournament. Sweden had attempted to draw with us, but God brought them back to confirm that Nigeria is different. It's a global champion. Your Excellency, this tournament is unique in several respects, but most importantly, what it showed is the resilience of the Nigerian spirit. That we are a nation of conquerors. We're a nation of champions and victors. Now, for a team to go into a tournament and defeat every nation they encountered, won all the matches, drew only one during the preliminaries, and were never defeated by any team in the tournament. Clearly, what it shows is that the Nigerian spirit is rising. That we are rising as a nation, there is no doubt. Clearly, whatever anybody might say, this nation today is different, quite different in several respects from what President Jonathan met in 2010. Now, I tell you the other reasons. If you look at what happened in this tournament, we set 2 records. One, we became the only nation to win that global tournament 4 times. And these 4 times is in 28 years. Because the tournament started in 1985 and we won the 4th tournament when Nduka Ogbade lifted the cup in China. Since that time, we have won it 2 other times. Now this year, exactly 20 years after the second victory, we have picked the cup again. That was in 1993 in Japan. Today is 2013. It's 20 years exactly. We are picking the cup again for the second time since 1993. Now, we are the first nation to win 4 global cups in 28 years. The whole world competed. Now, that tells you something about Nigeria, because the young men, the young children who are doing this are the future of the nation. And I must tell you that they have also become now the nation that has scored the most goals in one tournament. This was held by Germany at 24 goals. Now we have upped the tally to 26. So it will take quite a long time for any other nation to dispute this prowess by the young people of Nigeria. The difference between the last 3 years and the previous ones is that after the fiasco in the Olympics in England, where we didn't win a medal, the president said no, he will not sit here and see the Nigerian spirit go down. What did he do? He called a special retreat on sports, where he brought all the major stakeholders together, led by the indefatigable, hard-working Minister of Sports, Bolaji Abdullahi. They came together. We discussed why is it that Nigeria has not been winning as we should. A nation of nearly 270 million Africans together in one boundary for the first time since ancient Egypt. We represent the authentic African flag around the world. And so we must lead. We must lead in all areas, in culture, in literature, in music, in sports, in the economy. We need to lead. If we don't lead, the rest of the world will never respect us. They will never respect the black person on the street. So in these 2 years of reorganizing under the president, what has happened? From the humiliation of the Olympics in England to now, look at what Nigeria has done under President Jonathan. One, we won the senior championship of Africa, the senior Atlantic African Championship, were the current champions. We won it over 1 year ago, after the fiasco in England. The second, we won the junior category of the Athletic Championship in Africa. So all the 2 championships in athletics are now in Nigeria, were the current champion. The third was we tested the new good luck formula in South Africa during the Nations Cup. We won the cup for the first time in 19 years. It is now here in Nigeria. And then, you know, the doldrums in our qualifications in the World Cup, we are inching towards representing the continent as one of the representatives in 2014 in Brazil. But most importantly, we have now gone forward to win the Under-17 Cup. Never in the history of this country, under any leader, did you have 5 championships residing in our country at the same time? At the same time. African Cup, the Cup of Nations, and then the South Africans wanted to test, I've forgotten that one. They wanted to test our resolve and strength by organizing a Mandela Cup. So we were just sitting, we had as South Africans, were inviting Nigeria, just Nigeria, because we were the reigning champion. And the competition is to hold in South Africa itself. So Stephen Keshi, who was the first indigenous coach to win the Nations Cup for us, went to South Africa with our Super Eagles. And what happened? We humiliated South Africa at home. And we took the first edition of Mandela Cup, which is also here now. Which is also here now. And when Keshi was asked to comment, he said, no, we needed to do this for Mandela because we sacrificed so much for his freedom and the freedom of South Africa. So, Your Excellency, it's important to note that when a nation is on the rise, you are going to see it in the confidence of its citizens. You are going to see it in the confidence of its citizens. It's not just about anything. It's not that poverty has been wiped out. No, we won't wipe out poverty in 3 years of the present leadership because of the accumulated rot that we inherited. But the reality we have today is that the Nigerian spirit, the spirit of the nation, the confidence of our people, youth, women, Jonathan. And this is because you have a leader that is deliberately planning the development of the nation and is very calm. No matter how he's insulted, you can read that. Or even this morning, I'm sure people will find opportunity to insult him side by side by reporting the World Cup that he has just won. But at the same time, that is what it is. So, the reality is, this nation is rising. The spirit is rising. In sports, our young men and women have not... Look at the last tournament game that was played by the women. I think they defeated, was it Sierra Leone, which country? 10-0. 10. That's how it is. The Flying Eagles defeated Mexico, the reigning champion, 6-1 opening match. And then came back to confirm in the final match that the first victory was not a fluke by giving them 3-0. Now, I think this hall must stand up to give these boys a very serious ovation for what they have done. Give our nation a very serious ovation because there is no other place to celebrate it other than in Lokoja where it all began. This is it, where it all began. This is to tell you that the next century, the last 100 years, might have been a lot of lamentation. Sit down, please. The last 100 years of Nigeria, we had a lot of lamentations. But the next 100 years, from what is happening now, there will be a different story of a nation rising to greatness. And it's all about leadership. So we congratulate our young boys, Mr. President, the sports minister, and all people of Nigeria and Africa everywhere for what has happened. Now, I'm going to slightly move away from sports because I believe that what you are seeing in sports is not just in sports. The president unleashed a transformation agenda, which is the first time Nigeria is beginning to replan its future. You remember that under General Gowon, when we were planning and working deliberately in different sectors, by the time Gowon left in 1975, the economy was growing at 11.5%. We had double-digit growth. Talking about continuity, the people who came after Gowon continued with the third and fourth national development plan. I am sure South Korea will never be in front of us. I am sure Malaysia will never be in front of us today. But because of instability and disruptions which happen, we have found ourselves behind the sidelines. But definitely what the president is doing is to take a look at all this. Why have things not worked? Why is it that Nigeria has been moving in fits and starts? It is because we need a leadership vision that understands we're in competition with the rest of the world. We need a leadership vision that will also learn from countries that have made it consistently. What is responsible for that consistency? We also need a leadership vision that says, look, here are our potentials, here are our challenges. Rather than lamenting about deficits in transport, deficit in power, deficit in all areas. What the president has done is to learn from those countries that moved ahead of us because of consistent planning and holistic implementation of policies. So what has he done? With the transformation agenda, we have planned targets to be achieved in returning transportation to back up the economy. We have planned programs for agriculture, different from what you used to see in the past. Changing agriculture from a development program to a business that will lead to massive production and processing, not just production of raw materials. Like David Ricardo told us in the last century, Africa will be a huge platform to produce raw materials for Europe. Our comparative advantage was produce raw materials, agricultural products, and send them to Europe to turn into manufactured goods so that they can have the knowledge to multiply resources and then, zone poverty to Africa. That was what it is. Because if you don't manufacture, you will never be rich. If you don't create, you will never be rich. There is more money in creativity than under the soil. No natural resources can replace man's creativity. So that is what they wanted to do. But today, we have seen the loopholes. And we are beginning to plan the development of the nation in a different way. So the transformation agenda has tried to look at the major problems. One, we are where we are because our governance has been fit and start not stable. And the instability does not come from anything. It comes from the fact that we have a fractured ruling elite, not united. If this one is moving forward, they pull him down. If this one is moving this, so this syndrome of pull him down, is what is responsible for the crisis we have faced as a nation since 1951. This is the problem. Everybody is standing by to pull down whoever is making progress for the country. And for God's sake, for how long will we do this? Now, somebody mentioned here what happened to Ajaokuta Steel Plant. Before I continue, Shagari, an elected president, laid the foundations for the Ajaokuta Steel Plant in 1980. By 1983, when he was overthrown, unfortunately, Eneku are considered the most disastrous thing ever done against this nation. He had taken that steel plant to 84%. And if Shagari remained in power by 1986, definitely Nigeria, Africa would have been producing steel here in Kogi State. Nothing would have stopped it. Nothing. Because we were already there. We were seeing it, touching it. Then the coup came. And we lost all the years that followed. By the time Jonathan came in as president, the steel plant had already been concessioned to Indians. So for the last 3 years, the president has been hamstrung because the case is in court. We have been doing everything to resolve it because we didn't like what the Indians were doing at Ajaokuta. Now, that entanglement made it very difficult for the president to respond to restore Ajaokuta. But definitely we are working out there now because the case is virtually being resolved. And in the meantime, when we went yesterday, the management is already working with some investors to keep the units in production moving so that we do not lose the plant. The reality is Ajaokuta is such a huge investment that it will be a crime for this country to abandon it. We have seen it, and indeed, if leadership was smart, focused, and united since Shagari, definitely nothing would have stopped this from going on. But it shows that political instability has a cost. And that's why I want to thank the governor for doing continuity. Because if others who inherited the steel plant from Shagari had continued, we will not be lamenting here now. We will not be lamenting here now. So definitely, I want to assure you that what the president has therefore done is to look at this inconsistency. In 2010, when he came to power, all the railway lines built by the British since Lord Lugard to now were broken down. No train was moving in Nigeria. If Lord Lugard, as at 100 years ago, started the construction of railways in 1912 and built the railways. It is unimaginable that we crippled those infrastructure after independence. So by the time we came to power, no train was moving in Nigeria. The power sector down. Down. So the president decided for us to give Nigeria to restart the engines again. We needed to sit down and envision and think. And so we located three problems. One,